finish up your training evaluations, or not your training evaluations, but your evaluations for power of placement within Allegory. You're given a night to rest, get yourselves back up together, and that the collection of people who will essentially debrief after the events in Aurora's Rest, that collection is finally gathered. You walk through the halls with your de facto liaison thus far, Ingen, and he goes in front and kind of drags you all behind him. And before he reaches the doors, he hands out a little token to each of you. Each one of them looks like a little badge that you can attach to yourself. There's looks like it has like magnetic options, or it also has a pin, kind of depending on whatever you would prefer. He goes through and it's like, all right, so we've been talking about this ranking system for a while. I haven't shared much of the details, but here it is. There's 8 positions. There, we value hunting, and one of the greatest beasts that you could ever hunt is a dragon. Our ranks are named after the pieces of dragon's power. Starting at the top is heart, the dragon's heart, their core. That's the most powerful. Next is breath, wing, scale, tail, horn, claw, and finally spine. Each one of them gives you a certain amount of access. For example, if you want to take on a moderately hard quest or hunt, you need to be around the tail or scale rank. Conversely, if you wanted access to certain information that we have, you still have to exchange for it, but your access goes up as you climb in rank. A horn will not have the same amount of access as a scale rank, for example. Any questions on that? Right, so as we go, for reference, I am a wing rank, and that is third from the top. Cressida, your scale rank, fourth. Protector, you already know. Haru and Yaslin receive tail rank, fifth from the top. Dro, you got horn. And Lunith, you got spine. Lunith, you are frankly crazy powerful, but you have absolute control over your powers, yeah. Once you do, I expect, if this matters to you, you would climb up the ranks quite quickly. In addition to access information, the higher you rank, it also allows you to go different areas. And as we will likely see within this meeting that's about to occur, the higher your rank, the higher number of votes you get. Spine level gets 1 vote. Claw, which none of you are, gets 2. Horn gets 4. Tail gets 8. Scale 16, wings 32, breath 64, and heart 108. It doubles every rank. The higher you rank, the more your word counts around here. That's why I wanted to evaluate you all before we got into this. There's going to be quite a bit of people in here, and your rank will matter. Your testimonies and accounts as eyewitnesses of what happened inside of Aurora's Rest will also count. That's why you're all in this room. Even Lunith, as the lowest rank, these things are going to help us put together what we are thinking and what information we have within this pyramid. I also didn't want to overflow you with information. This pyramid is called Chapter Stalker. Each pyramid is a chapter. Each name of the pyramid refers to the type of skill set for the person who's at the top. There will be a bit more information as we go in, but wanted to give you a brief understanding of what it is that we're doing now, or a brief understanding of the system that we're working within. Any questions?
Does that mean that the person at the top is a stalker?
Of sorts, yes.
All right, well, let's hope it's one of the hunter ranger ones. Well, I don't have any further questions.
Very pertinent. Also, just as you know, Chapter Stalker here also has a certain value associated with it. Each chapter has its own rank amongst all chapters. This one is ranked Wing. We are third to top. There are many like us. There are fewer who are breath rank, and only a handful that are heart rank. All right, if there's nothing else, then let's go meet the compatriots of the day. He turns around and he pushes gently on a set of large doors. You've mostly seen like sliding like security panels throughout here and teleportation circles that kind of bounce you from place to place to place. And this is the first time you see large doors. He pushes them open and it's a very light push, and the rest of it is taken care of mechanically. They swing open by themselves. And you see inside, almost all of the walls are just straight rock. Not even mostly carved, but rock that has been left over. Like this was some sort of high up natural formation, like a cave high up on the mountaintop where this chapter was erected, and they chose to leave it. You see a large panel of glass, a massive window, maybe 30 or 40 feet up, overseeing additional parts of Allegory and the canyons down below. This picture doesn't do it great justice, but like Quentin and Lily's backgrounds are better. Like the outside shots are to get that exact view inside of this image. But you see plenty of like caverns and ravines, and there's quite a bit of height difference. And he comes, and Ingen comes over and like gestures for you all to take seats. You guys are welcome to shift yourselves around as you see fit over here, but essentially you guys are the last ones inside of the meeting room. You see all your evaluators from the trials, you see new folk, you see Ingen and Gesimus, and you see several people from Aurora's Rest sitting on the other side of the table. All in all, it's about 20, 25 feet. Ingen goes and sits down and nods over to Gesimus, and then he stands up and says, we have some new recruits and some people that have returned to us after a bit of a hiatus. Speaking of Warden, who goes by Protector now. I'll go quickly around the room and introduce everybody. Starting with the lowest rank, we have Lunith, very powerful, necromancy-based magic user who seems to have recently come into her powers based on what happened inside of the hangar. It's unclear to her or any of us thus far what her powers actually are, thus she is ranked at Spine currently. At Claw rank, we have Victor Blackmoon from Aurora's Rest and Tillis Black Ash as well, and he refers to the man in the suit, which the suit still looks quite pristine, but it looks like probably has like a layer of darkness on top of it, and you can see like the threads inside of the suit are lighter than those on the outside. Victor was one of the proprietors of entertainment and purveyor of goods inside of Aurora's Rest. Tillis, oops, forgot to change his name. There we go. Tillis was a member of the entertainment district who often had insights into what the general crowd was thinking. Next, we have Hornrank, Dro, the current champion of water, and the representing oppositional force to the fire cardinals that attacked Aurora's Rest. We have TR, Ald, and Kiara. TR referencing the ranger that Haru fought, Ald, the elf that Dro fought, and Kara. Sorry, not Kara, not Kira. Many of you know them already. These are some of our squad captains inside of Chapter Stalker. Next, we have Tail, which includes our returning protector and our two new members, Haru and Yaslin. Moving up from there, we have quite the big list. We have Delphine, member of the Holy Squad, and Kiki. What do they see as he gestures across the table to this individual?
You see what looks like a very, very buff human woman. She has tan skin, dark brown hair, coffee brown eyes, and her armor looks like almost molten sheen, as it's very form-fitting to her figure. And it looks like rich, expensive armor. She has a sword on her back, a large shield at her side, and she uh looks like she's ready for a fight.
Okay, let me see here. There we go. Ignore the wings. Midjourney's the spoiler. All right. Next, we have Thorak, member of the Juggernaut Squad. And he shifts over and he references Thorak, who Yaslin went against inside of the evaluation. We have Koilak, member of the Adaptive Squad. Leader, not by choice. And he's sitting there like thumbing through a book, and there's like a little creature like sitting on his shoulder, and he's barely like registered. Like he doesn't seem like he's responding at all, even when he's being specifically addressed. So I made some modifications. This is the guy that you fought as Cressida in your evaluation. I had so much fun with him. I made him into a PC that I will use someday.
That's fair. I love him. He's just a little guy.
I love him too. He's awesome. Next, we have Cressida, member of the 24 Towers in Aurora's Rest, and governing one of the abjuration schools. Do I have that right?
Correct.
Thank you. Additionally, we have Iona Thornvale, formerly of the Council of Aurora's Rest, Temple Cleric, or Temple Druid. We also have Maldia Swiftcape and Rollick Stonefur of the Talny. And the two of them just kind of sit there, and Rollick turns over. And for those of you that nearby, you owe me you owe me 2 gold. Pronounced our names right, surprisingly. Yes, whatever. Next, we have Wing Rank. Kion, representing the Merchant Quarter from Aurora's Rest. We also have Albiadala, another member of the 24, who specializes in research of elemental history in the foundations of the world, specifically the Cardinals. I am also in wing rank, and I am the second captain within Chapter Stalker. And he gestures to the man on the right. Says, "This is Barrick Tyrion, and he is the first captain." Lastly, at breath rank, we have our two highest ranking members here, Gesimus and Randar. Now, I feel like I've talked enough. I'm going to sit down. And he sits, and Gesimus stands up afterwards. Right, and thank you all for being here today. Obviously, this is an unfortunate precedent for us to be meeting like this. But I'll get to the chase. We are but one chapter here, and this is a collective of those who will help to decide the motion that this chapter will take moving forward. We have the authority to move independently, but we will be consulting with the larger book as well. For those of you who don't know, a collection of chapters in this case is referred to as book as our ruling group of sorts of those of the heads of each individual pyramid. Whatever it is that we decide here today, that is what I will take to the book to see if we have any that can share additional information, to form a battle plan, to adapt and respond to the situation that we find ourselves in, however we need to. Any questions about the purpose of this meeting? Q, you look like you were thinking of something.
I let the dice decide.
A beat to think. The dice said no.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, if you would be so kind, we need as much information as we can get. That'll help us decide our course of action here. This place loves to hunt. The entire damn country. But what we hate is walking into a situation blind. So if you have anything to share, we'd be much obliged to hear it. One last piece of information I should share. For those of you that came down from Aurora's Rest after the incident, the gestures to kind of everybody that's not on that kind of like window-facing side of the table, I'm sure you and your people are scattered across the rest of the chapters. You were the ones that happen to wind up here. So, we'll do our best to absorb you and your information, your skill sets, talents, as long as that's where you want to be. You are welcome to move on to a different chapter if you like, but we won't say no to an influx of capable people. Now, is there anybody who would like to go first to bring us up to speed on what happened there?
Protector shoots Dro a look.
Dro's got his head down. We'll say, occasionally glancing up directly across the table from him. Dro is not eager to chime up yet.
Well, might I offer somebody's name up?
Oh, by all means, I was going to randomly call on somebody, but if you're going to do the same, feel free.
I think that Randar might have a very interesting story to tell. After all, a couple of us were together and ran. Everyone just laughing. But a couple of us were together and we'll have very similar stories. But Randar, I'm very curious what happened to him after we split.
What do you mean after you split above table?
Didn't we go in separate directions? Randar kind of just ran off to help people after we came down the mountain, and we were like, okay, we're gonna go the big thing.
Essentially, yeah. So after you guys left the judge building, whatever that's called,
Courthouse.
my brain stopped.
Courthouse, yeah.
Courthouse. Thank you. After you guys left the court, like you guys left the courthouse, and Randar did run off to like go help protect people. And then eventually he met back up with you at the tower with the graft above it. Right. Not a problem. Where to begin? There's quite some time there's been a misunderstanding about what happened in Dro's past. I was his caretaker for quite some time. I took him in off the streets, taught him how to fight, taught him how to live, and how to not be such a miserable little shit for the most part. I don't believe it's necessary, but I'll provide information on that if we deem it is so. But for reasons that I don't think had anything to do with the downfall of Aurora's Rest. It started when we were in a courthouse going over his alleged crimes. There was an infiltrator who seemed keen and intent to spread lies about him in the courtroom in order to see him shackled and possibly executed. He had mind-controlled the litigant who was looking to put Dro away. His allies, and he gestures to the lot of you, were also, for the most part, detained and examined as witnesses and people of interest in the case. When it was exposed that the lawyer had been mind-controlled, he pointed out a merchant, and the merchant transformed into a molten gold-covered goat man.
Dro, without putting his head up, is while he's talking and describing people, he's doing minor illusion, so people can get a better visual of who Randar's talking about.
Thank you, boy. After that, all hell broke loose, and it was the beginning of the end. They had infiltrated Aurora's Rest and sown the seeds of its downfall for quite some time. We're not sure of what the timeline looks like there. We escorted the innocents out, fought off those who invaded the courthouse, and from there, we started to realize that the city was under attack and not just the courthouse itself. I ran off to do my duty as a temple leader, get those in my employ, my monks, deployed so that we could reduce the collateral damage as much as possible. I believe most of us in leadership positions did the same. They had manipulated events and waited for a graft of fire to be situationally exposed near Aurora's Rest, and they quietly and confidently cultivated it and eventually ripped it open, allowing fiery reinforcements that could be easily controlled by one of their archmages, while treating that as a distraction from a massive amount of reinforcements that came up from underground. We were set upon by fire from above and below. And we fought as long as we could. At the cost of great expense, one of their compatriots and our friend Margot, she closed the graft and died in the process. But not before fighting it taken such a turn for the worse that it was already too late. Anything else the rest of you would like to add? I was not present with them the whole time.
There may be one bastion left in the city. My tower and my wife's tower were heavily shielded, and it's possible that they still stand. They may serve as a sanctuary in the fight to come, or a refuge. A point to launch the attack, perhaps?
Barrick, one of the captains. Oh, that's interesting. We've already got a solid foothold and we can unlock. That would be greatly advantageous if we were to try to take it back. Now, if I'm not speaking out of turn, he kind of looks over at Gesimus and just gives him a bit of a slight nod. We love the hunt. There's glory in it. There's treasure in it. There's value and experience. But there's also... Oh, apparently I have to log in to Forge because I wasn't already logged in, apparently. Thank you, Forge. And he says, in this case, there's also property in it. There's also ownership. If we... Sorry, I got a text from my ex about my kiddo. She got a little bump on her face. She says, and he says, if we were to retake this, I believe we would be seeing it as an expansion of Allegory, not necessarily a liberation. Unless equally opportune compensation could be made. We're not a bunch of do-gooders looking to risk our lives for free handouts. But if there's opportunity, we can help. Hope that doesn't sound callous, but nothing works for free in this world.
Can I roll an insight on all of the residents of Aurora's Rest?
That's
just
a lot.
General one.
Yeah,
General one.
Just when he mentions an expansion of Allegory, where the Empire also tried to do that, and Aurora's Rest was not fond of that.
You're checking to see if that would be something that they wouldn't be fond of?
Yeah, just trying to see if anyone, how they reacted. Did anyone kind of give off like, wait a minute here? That is 24.
24. Gonna roll some things. Oh, dang it.
If it helps, well, no, never mind. Take it back.
For Protector and Lunith, Protector very obviously does not agree with that statement and has quite a few things mulling in his brain. And then Lunith, her reaction as a resident is essentially very uncertain.
You would also be looking at
Cressida openly
Jeez.
like does a little
My guy's-
cringe. Like
My guy's rolling.
I don't like this plan. She
Um,
doesn't like it.
the first three, kind of left to right, Tillis, Kion, and Albiadala, they don't seem like they care very much about that. None of them were in like ownership positions other than like their particular establishments, so like it didn't seem to bother them. Iona and Black Moon. Black Moon, you see like a distinct like twitch, like not happy. You're trying to you see him as a directly oppositional to that. Iona looks very concerned and like a leader who is wanting to like protect the homes of her people. She like wants, you can tell she wants a softer approach than that.
Hearing that, Zero's gonna lift his head up. Well, he was already eyeing everybody, and he'll look over. When you say an expansion of Allegory, what does that entail? Because I will speak for myself, and I won't speak for those who are also residents of Aurora's Rest, and the, pardon me, lack of history that I have. We had previous encounters, and it didn't go as well. Aurora's Rest does not want to be this higher power and be used as a higher power. So, pardon me for asking, but when you say an expansion, what does that entail?
Not for me to decide, but I'm just expecting that's how it works. Look, from what we can gather so far, it's all lost at the moment. Right? You have nothing. There's, except for maybe the towers that Cressida mentioned. It's an ashland. You've got zero value from it right now. It's not in your hands. If we help you take it back, there'd be a cost. That sounds like it's probably up to the other chapter leaders to decide and negotiate all that, but I just don't have any problem saying it out loud. So I said it.
Would it not be better to just simply fight back, and then once the enemy has been defeated, have the discussion amongst the higher-ups who have survived?
Oh, probably.
I love
Yeah,
politics.
I'm not. That's out of my purview. So, Gesimus, help. He just kind of shakes his head. Well, he's right. There is compensation would be needed. We don't need to go into the details of that at the moment unless we feel it's pertinent. And quite frankly, we've only got a portion of our leadership and a portion of Aurora's Rest leadership in this room, so it's a bit of a half-baked conversation at this time. But it is prudent to disclose that eventuality, that there will need to be some exchange.
Orin opens his mouth as if to speak, and then just shuts it and takes another drink.
Right. Yes, I imagine there would be some immediate terms dictated, and after and if we reclaim Aurora's Rest, then, the final details of the terms will be settled. Not saying it's something we have to discuss now, but it seemed like a fair point to put on the table.
Can I get another check on those people after that conversation? After Joe brought up? $21.
It's about the same. Tillis is actually like leaning back in his chair, just kind of like half grinning with his mouth closed. So he's just kind of watching what's happening. Kian is just standing. He's just sitting there. He's pretty stoic. Like, he hasn't really made an emotional face yet. And we got the three other ones.
Kieran,
Yes.
that
And
guy
from
is that the one that Dro clocked that particular thing in his shop on the rug? Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that had the lichen blade Seamus went into his shop looking for a lichen blade.
Okay.
Cressida is going to speak up and ask, have you considered the eventuality that there is no chance for a repayment? We all know how this world works. If either fire or our remaining forces in Aurora's Rest loses a foothold, there is every possibility that it is recalled. I don't remember the word we used. It's not recalled. Whatever happened to the...
I know.
I don't remember the word we used.
I've played with that word, and it doesn't... I still haven't had anything like really land. And like
sticks.
so like like graft. I love the idea that graft feels right, and I don't have the proper counterpart to that yet. But we'll go with recalled. It sounds good enough for
But
today.
You get what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
What about the chance that it can be recalled and we could... No, there would be nothing left to claim to fight over?
Oh, certainly. That's absolutely one of the possibilities that's on the table. Do nothing. Do nothing. Let Aurora's Rest burn and become a permanent settlement of fire. Do we set up a border patrol? Do we protect ourselves from the north because it's an inevitable outcome that it's lost? This is the sort of thing that we're here to discuss today. No decisions have been made so far, and we are looking to understand what the best possibilities are for us to move forward. And it's possible that if we leave Aurora's Rest to its current fate, then we set up a border or something like that. There's no cost to the Auroran people because we're just protecting ourselves at that point.
Yes, but I wonder how the rest of the world would think. I mean, if Allegory were to do nothing, set up a border, and just look after the refugees, what happens when Allegory falls, and the rest of the city-states and countries around see it and go, oh, well, we'll just set up a border and hope that they don't come for us next. I think that action must be taken here.
Roll a persuasion check.
Oh, God. Lunith actually said that, not Protector.
He's like, I need that sorcerer.
Exactly.
Nope.
I need that sorcerer
Mhm.
charisma. 11.
11. That's a fair point.
Dro's gonna chime
I
in
think
on that. Why is an option to not do anything even on the table when there was numerous sacrifices made to an attempt to save the city, and we do nothing and that's all in vain? Then what? That's just not honoring those who gave their lives to protect the city that they love?
That's frankly, that's a pretty way of thinking. Doesn't necessarily mean it's realistic. Their lives are lost. There's nothing that we can do now to bring them back unless we've got the magic and resources to do so. I'm not, look, I'm not saying what you say doesn't make sense. It does. We're not heartless here. Some of the other chapters, holy shit. But we are looking at this holistically. In a perfect world, which we all know this sure as shit ain't, we'd march right back up there and delete all those fiery assholes. But is that worth the cost? Or do we just become more fuel for fire? What's the chances of success? We don't know yet.
I don't think we leave it up to statistics and chance. I think we leave it up to hope. You need to have the willpower to know that you will win.
And the army doesn't march before a plan and decision's been made. We've got the army. But at what
I
cost?
think
Say we lost. Do we have numbers on that yet? He looks around the table and Thornvale speaks up. From what we can gather so far, we've lost other 25 to 32% of our population is unaccounted for so far at any of the territories. It's very hard to get information currently. We've got many chapters that they could be spread to, and this is not the only country that our people fled to. Sure. 25%, we'll call it an even number for now. 25% of Aurora's Rest's population. For us to go and avenge them, what if that costs us 50% of ours? 60, 70. We go up, we fail, that leaves our forces gutted. We are an easy next target. These are the things we have to consider here. And again,
Delphine's gonna.
I'm not intending to sound heartless here. We are talking about war run off the backs of hope and willpower is nice in a story. But it could get us all recalled.
Just
If we're walking
is
into
Delphine.
this. If we're walking into this blindly and without the right ideas in place.
Do we have any idea what they were doing in Aurora's Rest? Do we have any idea? Because, as I see it, I don't really think they're going to stop at Aurora's Rest. The fire really only spreads.
I'll be a dollar. Kind of
Delphine's
puts her
gonna
head on it.
speak up.
Go ahead.
She's gonna say, and what about a strategic advantage? We said that.
Yeah.
You said your friend. You said your friend dealt a blow to the fire. The damage done, they'll recover from the longer we wait. The more time we give them to recover, to repair themselves, to dig in up there, we're giving them an advantage. We're turning what is the wreckage of an assault into a fortified standing.
Well, and pardon my speaking up. I'm not very military like the rest of all y'all here, but I mean, we have a whole lot of people here who have been placed in different areas of society, and perhaps if we simply wait and defend, we might be able to learn how to uh, fight better, and we'd have the home field advantage for when they do attack here.
What about all the people between here and there, though? Oh, goodbye, Warden.
I don't even know how that happens. Like, I didn't knock the table or anything. The camera just went.
Mm.
It's the ghosts. It's Lilith's ghosts.
Members of my squad, and Ingen speaks up. Members of my squad are already out there doing as much recon as we can. Learning about the enemy is possibly the number one priority right now. If we don't know what we're dealing with, there is no chance of success.
Well,
So, yes, what you've said, Lunith is irrevocably part of the plan. We just don't know what builds on top of that yet.
well, I would worry simply for the sake of we know that they can infiltrate a city, and infiltrate it quite well, and burn it down from the inside. Perhaps Allegory and other cities around the world have already been infiltrated, and they're merely waiting to just press the big red button. Then a defense would not be good enough.
I'll be a dollar. Size. As this is essentially the official debriefing of all of us collectively, I will share what I have found. Warden, you're or protector now, I suppose. Your statement is not as far off as you would like it to be. This was not a singular attack, from what I can gather from others that sit around the globe and study what I study. My tower was a central point where we pooled our resources and knowledge on the matter of creation and history in this world, but it was not our only location. It is not we have other strategies and satellites out observing the world. Somewhere between 7 and a dozen attacks happened near simultaneously. Infiltration has already happened. Possibly more. But the first wave has already been struck. And what little information I've been able to gather so far, Aurora's Rest was possibly hit the hardest. Not even entirely sure if that is true.
Well, then, I suppose the question might not be how do we reclaim Aurora's Rest, but the question might be can we talk with other people and see who our allies are.
Above all else, fire represents power. And power is a succulent, sweet thing to attract many, especially here in the wars, in Aeon. Power is often viewed as the true source of currency in this world. Based on that, it may be difficult to determine who our allies actually are. We say there are yet dozens of those who would have sided with the symbol of power dating all the way back to the creation of this planet. Ooh, here. I want to ask something slightly rhetorical. Who here has the greatest understanding of the creation of the world, besides myself?
Looking at my my not in base character.
I don't think that's something Cressida would have studied.
Hey, Dolphin, get your ass over here.
Give me a
Everything in the world
Yeah.
memorized.
history or arcana check. See, admittedly speaking, this is not the greatest group on the planet to have this question
God
to.
damn it.
Yeah,
I rolled
it's
a
like,
natural one.
oh no.
Rolls a
It's
1
still
and it's still a 14. Jesus.
But it's a 1. You gotta honor the 1.
Gotta appreciate that one. Yeah, no. I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't my
Yeah, no, Haru wouldn't know
Haru's-
shit.
Haru doesn't know crap. Just for the shits and gigs, though, Yaslin, were you paying attention in class that day, or were you asleep? I mean, she wasn't
I
sleeping
think
per se, but
Yasmin
she was
rolled a
definitely.
natural 20.
Morgan.
Told
Imagine
us
Yaslin was like, I know.
I
I
knew.
actually was awake for that class.
Oh god, yeah, we are
That
not
lecture, I did not.
knowledgeable.
Morgan.
No.
Tharok, with his background, would that play into any of it or no?
Yours is kind of a different direction, but
That's what I
go
thought.
for it anyways.
God.
I was like, huh? Creation of the world?
What was it? Arcana or history?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
In
They're the same.
in your case, it'd be history.
Yeah. That's...
Delphine
Hey,
don't know
Kiki, I
shit
joined the
about
club
this.
with you.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
Fuck,
not in
guys.
combat, so it's okay.
Yeah, this is the time to blow your nat ones, honestly.
So it's confirmed. Dro rolls physical dice. Tharok rolls digital.
Not to toot my own horn too badly, but I guess that's myself. The creation of the world. Aeon was made as blank slates. Then came the Cardinals. Grand elementals pulled in from any and everywhere. They fought, they warred. By the time they got sick of it, they started to create together. The balance was reached, and all for better than I can understand or anything else. We haven't seen them hide our hair since. Close enough as far as most know, yes. For those of us who have delved deeply into the subject. and I am frankly loath to say this out loud. And she looks around, specifically kind of looking at Victor and Keon and Tillis, kind of like looking at her other Aurora's Arrest members, like, crap, I don't want to say this around, like, all of you are a little bit shady. And then, like, looking out at, like, the people that she doesn't know.
Oh, fuck.
Actually, I'm going to have her roll. Oh, crap, did I never actually make her character? I don't think I did.
No.
Whatever, I'll just roll at advantage, and I know what her stat should be. Okay. There's a missing piece here. We've been asking why, and in my time since I arrived here, I think I figured it out. Seals. There's a reason we haven't seen any of the original cardinal elements in years, since they finished their work. Seals.
And do you think fire is trying to break these seals?
I think fire made a hell of a first move to collect all of their own seals. Possibly throughout the globe.
So you think this balance was not achieved consensually, and they want their power back?
Precisely. And yes. For whatever reason, each of the 8 originals each of the core elements they had their power forcibly split amongst the others. Eight elements, 64 seals. Each element split into 8. One remaining with them, and the other 7 spread across the world.
So, do we think that fire has reclaimed some of its seals to grow its power?
It sickens me to say, but yes. Durak is dead. The orc representative from the 24 Towers that was in the courtroom as a reminder, I'll just throw them down.
Huh?
Leader of the 24. If we had one of Fire's seals and Duroc died, the likelihood of them gaining it is high. I don't know for sure.
So then do we pivot the idea of reclaiming Aurora's Rest? Or do we continue the idea and hope that one of the seals are there? Or should we just send scouts and groups of people out and into the world in the hopes of finding the seals of air and water and earth to empower them? But if we were to empower all elements, perhaps we could all be crushed underneath them.
The likelihood that we would survive all the elements, all the cores coming back, is negligible.
And it's only fire gaining these seals, or are the other elements working on seals? I mean, fire is clearly the most loud and violent about it, but do we know if the others are gathering their own power?
The Temple of Air is a place of good people, of protectors. I do not believe that they would go out of their way to attempt to grow power and take over the world. I mean, that seems far more like a fire plot and nobody else. Or at least, definitely not air.
But if getting these seals gave you the power to protect, do you think they would do it?
Exactly. Creating an arms race amongst the cardinals. Whoever can get to their seals first to protect themselves.
Right.
And then just sit back and let everybody else load up with guns when they don't.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
How many of these seals have the other cardinals gained access to? Do we even know?
I am. I
Well,
imagine there is less than. This is heavy. This is the doomsday scenario of my entire life's work. I've only figured this out recently, and I am the head of the spear that reaches into the past to understand this. I figured this out day before last, as I had all the evidence from Aurora to guide my thoughts. Durak surely knew, but he is dead. Outside of this room, I expect there are less than 100 people globally that know this. Other than those who are directly influenced by the Cardinals and have the information disseminated, but I also expect that they would not share that information down the chain very far.
These seals that you speak of, obviously keeping the elements in their prison or wherever they're sealed away. what else does it prevent them to do? Like, if they're this almighty creators and there's a hierarchy among all the elements, while two of us are sitting here, can that be used for them? Can they use us? Talk to us?
It's the hierarchy is not so simple, I'm afraid. Nobody, as Barrick said, nobody's heard or heard from the core elements since they finished their job. There is no record anywhere of anyone speaking to them from that point on. Then we have the kings, the hands, the stewards, the champion. Each one is far more removed and limited from those above it. If we could speak to a king, they may give us some answers that we need. But that seems highly unlikely.
But not impossible.
Why do you say that?
Jerome's gonna look at Randar. Kind of this. I don't know what to say. Kind of that look. And hoping Randar recalls the moment Dro kind of lost it on Bloom. And heard that voice.
Shoot me a message. Remind me of the moment of what you're referring to.
It was just when Dro swung and tried to use his fury to tide to send Bloom flying, and it was a lot stronger than what he expected. And it was his view of looking up under the ocean up at a storm, but the water's calm. And then the Kieran told Dro to balance.
Right. From Randar's point of view, he doesn't know that's what you saw. He doesn't know you had that message because you guys haven't had time to talk about that.
Right.
If you know something and you need to say it, then say it. If you don't, then don't.
Dro's gonna look over at Protector.
Insight.
I'm giving you the look. I'm going to interpret the look to see if I get understand the right look, or I think it's a different look than the look you thought you were giving me.
Ooh.
Dro's looking for advice as if you would, if something in regards to power from the element that you were given, would you share that with this group?
I think Protector is going to shake his head no, or at least very calmly, like,
I'll look back across the table. This whole champion thing was not a decision that was thought out. It was desperation to protect those that I care about. He's going to look to his left at Yaslin. A sacrifice was given for this power, and I'm still learning how to use it. So, excuse me for asking questions on how to use this power instead of just learning on the fly, because right now that has not been very beneficial. So I'm hoping these smarter people in the room could provide some insight on that. And if we are going to take this fight, then we need to get stronger. We need to get any chance of strength that we can. Because right now I'm a really shitty champion.
You know, I study this for my living. If you need guidance and you have not received much yet, I have to do what I can.
I'd appreciate that.
Then find me later. Getting stronger, yes, this is a worldwide epidemic. Strength will be needed to survive this, undoubtedly.
Well, I'm not very knowledgeable on the elements and everything. I just know about air, a little bit of water, and, well, I guess fire burns. But is there some way that we'd be able to, I don't know, with the smartest people and most powerful people in the world in this city, be able to create a new element, one that is already unsealed, that would be able to turn the tides of battle, like, I don't know, an element of life or an element of willpower? Or perhaps just a faux magic that is pooled together to create something channeled in one area to a strong, powerful, big boom attack.
Fire, earth, wind, water, shadow, bright, beast, and magic are already in place. Introducing a ninth player that we can wield. I'm not even sure what to think about that fantasy. Something as powerful as 1/8 of the laws of nature of this world.
Right, but if it's something that we can control, or we can at least reset the balances of power and then destroy the ninth element and reset it back to 8. They'd never see something like that coming. Granted, I have no idea how to do that, but is it not an idea? Would that not give us a strong weapon?
She's just kind of sitting there stunned.
Did Warden just speak blasphemy?
Not, not blasphemy, just, you just spoke ridiculous to such a high degree, you kind of broke her brain for a moment.
But there was one ring.
It's like, what if
one
we
that
created
deceived
a
them all.
nuclear bomb?
Yeah,
Just
what
Exactly.
if we
Oh, yeah.
made the ninth element? It's like, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just sounded a lot like Sauron convincing Celebrimbor to make the One Ring.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I had in my mind of like deceive them all into thinking that we are weak creatures that were brought here, and instead we say no, this is our home now, and here's an element to prove it. Get your asses kicked, motherfuckers.
What?
Joke's
Make-
on you. Warden is actually the big bad. He's been playing the long game.
From the way I
Bringing
see
up
it,
a
everything
lie.
should burn, but the way that I want it to burn.
Through pure plasma and unadulterated energy. Not fire
Yes.
that diluted swill. That's the word.
Suddenly his wings work and he just flies through the roof.
Oh my gosh, that would be the day.
So just jolt up and like there's an impact on the moon and it just like scoots a little bit. And I have to
Don't
figure out how
want
to
none
use
of
the moon.
that.
Can you imagine he's so powerful that he can move the moon? Everyone can
You're-
see.
Yeah, it sounds like you
He's
just
actually a
proposed.
lich, and the moon is one of his containers.
How cool would that be
Maybe
if your
there's
campaign was to
multiple?
blow up a moon?
Yeah, there's always multiple containers.
3 moons.
The moon is actually like it like turns around slowly after that. It like opens up and is actually a face.
The Majora's Mask moon.
Oh no!
It just gets
We even hit
closer
the
and closer.
Twilight
You need the
Zone.
giants to push it away. Oh my, we're getting into a wild rabbit hole.
Like going down.
What makes you think if we were able to make an element like that, it'd be something we could destroy? And this is totally Yaslin asking this.
Well, if you can make it, you can destroy it. I think that's a very simple thought process. And if not, there's hope.
As I see it, if we have any hopes of, like, let's say hypothetically that we made something of that degree, if we can destroy it, I'm almost thinking it's probably not as strong as what we need it to be. If
Assuming,
it has an off
concern.
switch just like that.
assuming what you say is true, and we can destroy it, there's one thing that you can't destroy, and that's an idea. If we put that out into the world will recognize it, and who's to say in 20 years somebody won't try the same, not to restore balance, but to break it themselves.
You're saying we should be the first to do it?
I'm saying
No,
don't
I think
fucking
what
do
he's
it.
saying is
Oh, okay.
don't do it.
Yeah,
I thought
was
you
like,
were-
what I'm hearing is we
Such-
do it.
such designs can be. That's the problem with developing weapons of that magnitude. Others will seek them. And you can't destroy it now because you have to fight a war against others who have created such weapons. And it's an endless cycle of warlike advancement.
Is that not what this planet is already about? Survival of
That
the
does
fittest?
not mean we have to usher in our end. Temperance.
There's your title for the episode, Dro.
Temperance.
Ushering in the end.
Oh, ushering in the end.
I think both fit really well.
Or temperance, yeah. Dress it up, dropping lines.
Mm-hmm.
She is 150 years old, guys. She's gonna advocate
Oh!
for her patients. She's old as shit.
What an oldie. We've got a boomer at the table.
We do.
I think Noah and I were talking about this earlier. That's not a boomer. That makes her whatever is before like the golden age or before the silent age or
Edwardian, like no older than Edwardian.
that's like Irish famine
Yeah.
generation. Whatever that was.
She's she's just a really old college professor who looks like she's 25.
You know.
Elves, man. But yeah,
So okay.
don't I don't necessarily think that's a direction that would benefit anyone.
What if all of that were to be channeled into one person? Somebody who is, I don't know, perhaps like me, very, very incredibly old, and likely close to dying anyways. That way, I'd be able to use it to defend us, and then I would simply die and it would be gone, and we'd never have to worry about it again.
Once
As
again, you've
somebody,
created the processes to do that. And with such power, there's no saying that you couldn't extend your own life. And as the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
and
Who
the
knows how
other,
that power would change your mind?
or it fails because you're so old that your body can't handle that power.
Well, then I explode, and we go ahead and give it a try. Throw me into Aurora's rest. I go boom, and now you have the
Sending
advantage.
you
Somebody
in
already
like
did that.
nuclear bomb.
And my thought is this: if
Speaking
we
is-
do not bring a sharp enough sword to fight back, then we're just going to get stomped anyways. We've already lost, how many did you say? 7 to a dozen cities across the world? With so many others possibly infiltrated, and that was wave 1. None of us saw it coming. It could be that the next attack is the last one, and we don't see it coming too. Is this not the time to bring out our best weapons to at least give a fighting chance?
Direct confrontation is not the only way to win a war. Victor speaks up. It is one option, and what you said in your last couple of sentences makes sense. The rest of it's poppycock. Subterfuge can also work. One thing that we have now that we didn't 2 weeks ago is we know our enemy. We know they are a threat. We are no longer passively sitting by and being idle, enjoying the fruits of our labor in the tenuous world peace that had existed as close to peace as Aurora's ever seen, or Aeon's ever seen. But now that is shattered, and the chaos will come rushing back in like a flood. They no longer have the element of surprise. They used that card, and it was a wallop. I am unsure of what to do in this next phase. But trying to out-implode 1/8 of the planet's power does not seem like the way to go. It may take us, say it was possible. How long would the research take? How long would the creation take? How long would the execution take? I imagine something on that scale would not be swift. And what we need certainly does need to be swift. well thought out, I hope. But swift nonetheless.
Above table, because Margot's dead, so she can't say it. For everyone else who was there with Margot, just a reminder, Hasport had the device that we were able to use to like create a heat map of the world, and we focused it on fire using that part, the onyx or whatever. And we saw, I want to say we saw like 6 or 7 pings, and we just focused in on Aurora's Rest. So we might have a way of tracking them if Hasport can recreate that device somewhere. But only Yaslin, Dro, and Warden know that, or Protector know that, because
There's no way Yaslin has remembered this little tidbit.
But Dro might remember that, and that's a tool that we can use, because we saw it days in advance, and that's why the group kept saying, like, we need to get out and take care of this graft because they're coming, and everyone's like, fuck you, you're in jail.
Jail,
So, like,
jail,
technically
arrested.
the group did know that something was going down. They had that heat map, which we used to sense those grafts that were directly connected to fire. That's just above board reminder for those who were there, because Margot can't say it.
Yaslin. No.
There's no way.
I'm not gonna have
no way.
Dro
Yaslin was a
Protector.
bad spot even then.
Dro and Protector. Oh, and yeah, you were haggard at that. No, that was before.
It was before,
This
but
was
before that, Yaslin was worried about other things getting loose.
Yeah, that's right. So Dro and Protector, give me history checks. I'm gonna say at disadvantage here.
That's
17 is the lowest.
That sucks. It's a disadvantage because that's a nat 20 and a 19.
Well, I did that just
You
to screw
both
your
got
total
it.
damage.
So
Jesus.
in total, it's a dirty 20.
30, 20, and 17. Yeah, you both remember that thing, that device that Hasport had. Not sure if it's useful or functional or reachable.
The whole time Victor's talking, Dro is not listening to him.
Oh, of course not. So that's fair. In that case, Dro, I'm gonna nix your, because you're not in a place where you're focusing on something like that. We're thinking about ideas right now. So, Warden or Protector, you remember that funny little thing.
Goes on a super long rant about something that definitely cannot happen and would not be able to happen, and then it goes, oh, wait a minute, actually, I remember, there's something I completely forgot at the beginning of that rant. Well, if big guns are out of the question, there was a moment before the invasion, perhaps, I suppose it was like 2 days, maybe 3, in which we were speaking with Hasport. And Hasport had, what did you say it was called, the Onyx?
No. We used a onyx scale to focus on fire, because we use a piece of a fire creature to focus on its origin. It was like a massive worldwide scry almost that created like a heat map that showed pings of where fire grafts were. It was really cool.
Imagine like a globe that you would see in a classroom, like kind of it has this like little spike that reaches down to like a control panel, and it goes up and it's like this giant like brass and magical globe with like rings moving around it and like instruments, and like when you gave it something to attune to kind of be like, hey, sniff this out, hound dog, it filtered out the other noises and focused on that, and then Hasport was able to pinch and zoom essentially and get it down to, yes, there is something under Aurora Rest. At the time, nobody realized what that danger meant, though. And Hasport did say that, like, it doesn't necessarily mean that all graphs are bad and like all fire graphs are something that they would take advantage of. But like Hasport didn't seem concerned at all that there was a fire graft in town. Like it was something fairly normal.
Yeah, look how
And
that
like,
turned out.
right? But overall, fire took something that was usually a benign event. Like, yeah, stuff comes through graphs, but actually, Warden, you're the one that's thinking about this. Roll me another history check. And I'll give this to you at advantage, actually.
26.
Okay, 26. You don't know a lot about Arcana in history, but you do hear stories, mostly from like taverns and stuff, that as you travel around with your essentially taxi service, or rather your smuggling service. You've heard a lot of like stories from the mouths of drunkards, and you know that they like to tell the biggest, most impressive story so they can one up their drunky friends. You've never heard of a graft being as dangerous, even remotely this dangerous, to what happened in Aurora's Rest. Like sometimes it can be bad, like sometimes something can come through and like destroy a town, or like sometimes there's a bad monster that comes through and like it takes a lot of effort to like bring it down, but it's not like destroy a country level. Usually graphs like are just, they just bring in new people or new species or something new, or they fill in a recall. They took a natural phenomenon that was mostly benign and they turned it into a cancer.
I suppose I should ground myself a little bit more. I'm speaking in hypotheticals, and right now we need facts. When we were with Hasport, he had essentially a big scrying thing of the world, which, upon inserting some form of item for this scry to track, it was able to track down various different graphs. And so, we put in some fire from a fire elemental, I think that's what that was, and it showed us a whole bunch of different graphs all around. And there was one in Aurora's Rest, which it seemed strange, but from my understanding, it's relatively normal to have graphs all around the world. They normally bring things in. But while we were fighting, we were at the tower, and that graph above the tower was seemingly funneling in only fire-based things. It wasn't random. It wasn't bringing in something from over there and something from over here and then closing itself. It seemed specifically honed in on just fire. Perhaps we'd be able to use a big scrying map like that to find if there are more elements out there, perhaps more graphs than are normal for other elements, to check the other elements, but additionally, to see where fire might perhaps attack next. And perhaps those of you who have studied graphs like Hasport might know how to stop such a big funnel.
I have to admit that nobody has had contact with Hasport since Aurora's Rest.
Well, shit.
We don't know where he is, and my messages aren't reaching him.
What about Eve?
From what I gather, she's alive and safe, and she's not in Allegory. She fled in a different direction than we happened to. We could potentially steal the resource, but now to be a little bit more, just to clarify a little for any of you that might not know, it's not entirely unlikely that a graft would specify to a single location and, like, say, connect to a location of fire or water or something, some sort of thematic substance to that space, and those things come through and the graft closes. But you're right, Protector, they usually do spew out what they were essentially there for. Once they got enough of their energy built up that they were able to become stable, then something comes through and then they collapse again. That's usually how it goes. Just to add a little bit more color onto.
But they were holding it open the whole time. That's what we were fighting against. We were attempting to stop them so that way the graft would close. But there was someone on top of the tower just simply keeping it open with magic.
Fascinating. And for the first time, Coy looks up from his book. I didn't know that was possible. Cressida, did you?
No, but I did hear that their friend died in the closing of that graft, or shortly thereafter, so.
Tragic. My condolences. Is it likely that they would use that strategy again?
Well, if it ain't broke.
They might enhance it. If this group managed to close the graft with one, they might decide they need to increase the forces they use to hold open the graft. Make it harder next time. And more defenses on the graft, more magic for power.
Quite possible. If they have a theory and they haven't seen it disproven yet, they could try it again and see what the limits are. Scientifically speaking, that's sound.
I'm not a necromancer. But is there a way a person more attuned with the dead would be able to check if Hasport is dead? Because I simply think if Hasport is not dead, and he is one of the world's foremost researchers in grafts, well, why not keep him alive and see if, just as you said, you could enhance the strategy of keeping a portal open? Luneth shrinks in her chair.
DM does research.
Yeah, I have no idea if there is a
I don't know if
spell like that. I know you can, like, talk to dead people.
Yeah.
you need parts of the body. You need at least the head for speak with dead.
Hmm.
Maybe a cleric could commune with their god, and their god could tell. But then, if they don't worship the same god, it depends on how gods work in your world.
Orn's over here like, I may not know magic, but maybe this magic could do it. I don't know shit about magic, but maybe this magic could do it.
All you need to do is make a flying car that runs on gasoline that is distilled from daggers.
It's easy. It's magic. That's what you people do. It's magic. It doesn't need an explanation. It's magic.
Speaking of, like, magic willy-nilly, I was kind of going in and out of it when this happened, but wasn't somebody, like, spying on us during the courthouse?
Mhm.
Do you think we could, like, spy on people.
Oh, somebody could try to scry on Hasport, and as long as he's not shielded and alive, we'd see him. Do I have scry? There's so many spells.
Hold on. New caster.
What level is it?
It's like
Scry should be 3rd or 4th.
It's like 3rd or 4th level. I don't have scry.
I thought it was 5th.
Oh, is it 5th? I don't have scry, so.
Because sending.
I have
is like-
teleportation circle. Oh, I need to talk to you about teleportation circle later.
I don't know.
okay.
All I know
apparently
is
have.
I have Feast of Flesh.
Or like
Yeah.
if I would have had a circle in my
Me.
tower, which makes sense.
we're
Sure.
not gonna talk about the spells.
But we can do that later.
Okay. I'll be $1. I have tried to scry on him. It doesn't work. He could be under the influence of a non-detection spell or an item or something else entirely that I haven't had the time to decipher. Can't. He's an unknown. Perhaps he's just dead. And there's so much magical interference happening up north that I just can't peer through.
Lunith is gonna kind of like tug on Cressida's arm, in an attempt to like whisper into her ear.
Yes.
Totally hers. Quietly observing, but also maybe slightly eavesdropping.
Well, I never.
Give me what's your passive perception, Harp? 1 billion?
What's Har's passive perception?
Mhm. Oh, it's fine. It's just a 21.
Perception 21. I hear her, right? I mean, she's sitting right next to me.
Mhm. Yep.
I
Just a
suppose
20.
I could.
Just a casual 21.
Suppose I could roll that. 13 to stealth on this trying to whisper. She goes, well, I never quite finished learning how to be a witch, but I do know how to get into the Whispering Grove, and perhaps there is a ritual. There was somebody I met back in the Whispering Grove that knew a lot about the moon and never really joined us for any of those rituals. Perhaps we could go talk with her and maybe commune with the moon.
That's a good idea, assuming the grove still stands.
Yeah, pretty much everybody. Not Delphine. Delphine's perception is terrible.
Delphine does 2 things well. Well, Delphine and Yaslin. I'll just say Delphine and Yaslin are gonna get along very well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like, oh my
We're gonna
gosh.
get some workouts in, girl. We're gonna get some fighting workouts in.
Oh
Let
my
all the
gosh.
big brain people do the big brain stuff. Let's go punch
Yeah,
each other.
Yes. Yellen, honestly, if Delphine was like, let all the big brain people do the big brain stuff, let's go fight, she'd be like, oh, hells yeah.
Let's go now.
This sounds so much better. We're leaving right now.
Yes, yes.
Now, if I may get the meeting back on track. We're going through many different scenarios, but perhaps let us retreat slightly. Let's talk about all the information that we have. Let's gather and put out all of the cards that we know exist on the table before we start to try to formulate a plan. Whatever that plan may be. Does anybody have additional information that we should share about the events in Aurora's Rest, what's happening with fire, anything else that is hopefully less damning than, oh god, the 8 core elementals are going to wake up and consume the world? That thought is going to robbed me of many nights of sleep. Holy shit.
I don't know how helpful this information is, but the Minotaur man, when I saw him last, looked pretty weak. He was near death, so it's possible that if he was one of the commanders or one of the big guys there, that at least he might need some time to recover.
Which is what I'm saying. We need to strike now while we have an advantage. Well, they're weak.
That's not what I
Remind me, who in the group knows that Lunith met Bloom?
No.
And is that news to anybody in the group?
I think this needs to.
I was gonna say, I think that's just everyone,
Rest of them.
except for Dro.
Yeah, so Dro's the only one that knew.
Dro pieced it together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
So yeah,
I
Cressida,
remember, yeah.
Cressida, Yaslin, Warden. That's brand new for all of y'all.
Yeah, Protector's just kind of shocked. He's like taking it in.
Yeah.
What?
You met that goat man.
I don't know if it
The one
was
called
quite.
Bloom.
I mean, I don't really know his name, but I don't know if it's really a meeting either.
What did you... He kind of takes a moment to calm down, kind of recognizing he's talking to a child.
Dro elbows Randar and kind of like scratches the top of his head where Lunith has the gold.
Oh, fucking hell. Can you tell us about your encounter with him? What happened to you? What happened in that moment?
Well, I just lost most of my coven. We were trying to make it out of the city, and it was not easy to do. It was not easy to do at all. And I was given a bag of holding, and I was told to protect my big sister to get out, and I ran with her. We got pretty near the train station, but then this like phoenix thing flew up, and the horn guy jumped off or was running, or somehow he got behind us. So I gave my sister the bag of holding. I pushed her forward, and I took the mace that my mother had given me, and I charged at him. From my understanding, from what people have told me, I think I died. But I don't really remember that part. I just remember hitting him.
Rollick slaps Maldia up the side of the back of the head. Inconsiderate. I didn't know.
I don't really remember what he did. I just know that, I mean, I was back here with my sister. Maybe we should go talk with Cosima. Maybe she might have seen it a little bit better than I did.
That doesn't line up with the information that I have. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying it's an outlier. And this is Thornvale. The strategy was not necessarily killing. Their goal was to divide those in power to the maximum degree. The strategy was to maim and hurt people for right up until the point where if they went any further, they would die. And if they didn't get immediate help, they would die. Thus, eating up the most time from those who would help. The amount of outright killing that was done was surprisingly low.
I guess
They
that makes
wanted
me
to-
special.
Right. And I'm so sorry, child. That's to be special from a nightmare. I'm sorry. It just doesn't add up to the rest of the behavior that we've come to understand.
Bloom wasn't like the rest of them. He is the one I fought majority of the time. Almost as if he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the suffering of people, the tricking. He was in Aurora's Rest for many years. He grew connections. He wanted to kill. And he almost did. And he'll glance over at Yaslin. And I could have killed him. But he got away. He's not someone to take lightly. He's not a pushover. His ability with gold and uninstinctually will glance over at Lunith's the gold that's sticking out of her head. He's deadly. Almost as if he can heal off of it. Because of my mistake, Lunith had to deal with that.
Learn if that's news to you.
Yeah, she's taking it in.
Dro's gonna look over to you. Sorry.
You
Esther
can
will
see
just
it.
put her hand on Lunith if she allows it, just for comfort.
Oh yeah, she's not really going to stand up or slam her hands on the table or anything. You can just see like a whole wide range of emotions just circling through her face, from annoyance to anger to a little bit of confusion to uncertainty, back to some anger or annoyance, before finally resting on I don't know, seeming understanding.
Dro's face is just regret. That he knew if he was selfish for any longer, he probably could have stopped that.
Don't beat yourself up too much about that, Dro. There's also, he had this weird firebird with him.
They were very adamant on protecting him. Every time we knocked him down, their attention went to protecting him and getting him free. From what I've seen, he does have some magical capabilities. More trickery, if you want to call it that. But what I've seen up close, as well as Yaslin, he prefers up close and personal. And making a point.
Ro, as you're thinking about this and the behavior of the team dynamic, give me an insight check.
17.
Yaslin.
Huh? Excuse
Yes,
me? Am I like?
you can make that check too.
Oh,
If
okay.
you're like tracking what Dro's saying, if you're like, yeah, that's how they were behaving.
Yeah, okay. She is trying to be better at keeping up with this conversation for reasons. Oh shit.
Okay.
Look, the one.
Fucking
Okay.
taxis.
Oh, wait a minute. No, Rollock doesn't count because he wasn't up there. He was only ever underground. Yaslin, basically at the same time with Maldia. Here, I'm going to send it to you. There you are.
Let me. Oh. Okay. I don't think it was Bloom. That was the important part. I'm pretty sure it was that bird. I mean, was Yaslin conscious when she saw that bird literally like bring the man back up?
Yeah. I think Yaslin was unconscious for like 1 round.
Yeah, so she was
So I
conscious
think
for
she.
a good portion of. Okay.
Yeah, and there was the time that I was referencing. You guys ganged up on
Yeah.
the bird, and it didn't have a chance to escape. And that's the time that I was
Yeah.
referring to. And I think you were involved
Yeah.
with that. Yes, you were, because you
Yeah, she
kept it
was.
from
She
moving
was.
the sentinel.
Yeah, I
Right.
stopped it from moving, and that's why I got
Yeah,
targeted.
that moment when you stopped it from moving, that's when he shouted. So you can share that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they were more concerned about that bird just because when we were all surrounding it, it seemed that was the moment the guy up top was the most upset. But also seeing what that bird was capable of doing, I think, could probably understand why.
It did protect Bloom, and then those lava creatures did merge over it. Joe's finding it really hard to believe that Bloom wasn't the important one.
It's
Ro, now that she's mentioned this, give me. This is just straight memory. So give me an intelligence check.
16.
16.
Mm-hmm.
And give me an arcana check with that.
oh my god. Oh, okay.
15.
I will. Okay, that's close enough.
There goes all the good rolls for that. And a +1. Also note while this conversation we're mentioning these figures at moments when Dro sees that Lunith isn't looking his way exactly, he's gonna minor illusion bloom so people know what he looks like. Both his disguise and what we fought him as. He's trying to make it a point to keep it out of Lunith's view out of respect for her. Fuck.
Did you forget that part?
Yeah. Yeah. Just looking at Yaslin as she's talking about the bird. Yaslin would probably see remembrance. They called that bird king.
Wait, what?
When the Dragonborn, that was the Graft, yelled when you prevented the bird from flying away. You said the bird's more important. He called it king.
Oh my god.
And Dro's just like, fuck.
Yeah, no, fuck. They're
What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? What bird? What king?
Minor illusions, the bird. This.
A juvenile firehawk.
It somehow the beginning was able to bring Bloom back. Just barely. But didn't think anything of it. When Yaslin prevented it from escaping, it seemed to stress out the rest of them.
Firehawks have the ability to heal. In small doses, it can bring somebody back from the edge if they are close. But it used that word. You see her shiver visibly. Used that word for it. And Dro and Yaslin, Dro, because of your connection as the champion, you understand all primordial languages to a kind of like like a broken Spanish kind of way. You're fluent in Aquan, and Yaslin, you understand Ignan because of your dragon.
Mm-hmm.
You two are the only ones that heard him say, "Protect the king."
Oh.
And he said it in Ignan.
No wonder.
And she's like, and so I'll be a Dallas. She says it in he said the word king. Was it in common? Draconic? Something else?
Do I recognize what it was, or that I could just understand it?
Yeah, same with Yaslin.
Yeah, you can pinpoint it. This is easy enough. Plenty of context here.
It said Ignan.
Yeah.
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 It was Ignan. I think.
Did he say Khan? And you know that from your studies as the champion, Khan is the king's prefix, just like you are Zat Dro, that is your prefix as the champion. And yeah, he used the word Khan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks massively confused. That word is sacred to those in the cardinal elements. Khan only has one meaning. The king of the elements. The second in command only to the core. And the cores have been sleeping since the dawn of this planet. So effectively, that is the king of all fire.
Oh. That little
But
bird.
it's a juvenile phoenix. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they call the king that? Show me. What did it look like?
Minor illusion.
Yeah, which is what she was asking for. Where's my image? That is quite telling. In every record I've ever found about the king, it is a pure fire that looks very, very dark by comparison. And she's sitting there kind of stunned. Anybody who has kind of a background in the study of the origins of history, the study of like not entomology, but like essentially magic and zoology. Anybody who would have ever studied the history or the biology or the arcana of monsters, you can give me an associated check here.
I don't think either of mine.
Probably both
I mean,
of mine
Thorak's
to
not hitting
some
the
degree
books.
would have.
No.
I don't know if Yasmin knows this specifically, but throw her.
Well, no, that would make sense. Not with him. He's got animal handling.
Well,
I was gonna say Haru can do one here.
yeah. In considering the creature it is, it kind of fall more in her alleyway. Like, Haru has been quiet this entire conference. She's just been watching it and observing, and in this moment where everyone seems like a little stumped, she just pipes in. Aren't phoenixes known to be creatures that die and are reborn again? It is a cycle.
Yes, that's from what I understand. The king is a phoenix from fire, but a fully grown one, an ancient, terrible phoenix.
But that can still be killed.
It
in the same way that you could hypothetically kill an ocean.
it might be the same one, just reborn.
And
Do you
younger
think?
because of it.
Yes.
So we kill it, and when it's reborn again, we kill it again. When it's reborn again, we kill it
Do
again.
you do
We
you
just keep doing it.
do you
Absolute
think that maybe fire is reacting? Maybe somebody preemptively struck him, which is why it's so young, and this is their response. One of the other cardinal elements started this, and we're suffering
Ooh,
because of it. I don't know.
everything
You're the
seemed.
champion.
I don't know shit about this. Everything seemed fine till we were in the ripples and we saw what fire was doing.
Tell me absolutely everything you remember about the interactions of that group and how that bird is treated, the behavior of the bird, all of it.
Yeah.
I want every detail that you remember.
Gosh, you're asking me to remember in the heat
the
of
heat
the
of the moment,
moment, like
where we
literally
were
the
almost
heat of the
dead.
moment.
Yaslin, did you study for this test?
I know, right? Yeah, like,
Sweating bullets, like, oh god. Okay, so anybody that was there, go ahead and give me just a straight intelligence check here. Warden, or rather Protector, give me one, but at disadvantage because you were low on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So you weren't quite up there. Whoa, double 19s. Woof.
All right.
Everybody else that was on that platform, go ahead and give me a full roll.
30-20. I also roll a 19.
Randar doesn't remember
Randar.
shit.
Oh,
A lot was going on.
Yaslin didn't
Okay.
roll horribly. All things considered, I'm like, okay, girl.
Okay, and Rollick at disadvantage because he was also on the ground.
He got up to the tower as we jumped off.
It's like, I'm here! Fuck you guys.
Does Luna
Okay, yeah, so
roll
Rollick
anything?
doesn't remember anything. Randar was mostly protecting Margot, and that was really his deal. Until he came in and swooped in, and then he started running around. So Randar wasn't necessarily involved with the bird very much. What'd you say it was, Dro? A dirty 20?
30-20, yeah.
Okay, dirty 20. You remember actually, so for Protector, Yaslin, and actually make that an insight check for everybody. So if you have an insight bonus, go ahead and add it there, because I just changed my mind about how I was going to approach it.
The 26 then.
Okay.
It would have been
22.
the same.
That makes Maldia's up to a 23. How about you, Protector?
22.
22. Okay. Overall, between the lot of you, you kind of piece together. It had the air of something that was being directed. With a 26 Dro. That's really high. You've seen the same behavior that Bloom and Ibitramaz, not that you know his name. You guys still don't know his name. But the Dragonborn and Bloom gave this bird the same sort of attention that Randar gives his monks. in a way that, like, which would be what?
None of that adds up.
How does Randar treat his monks?
Disciples. They're
Yeah.
what? Tro just chimes in. Like I said, I'm not very knowledgeable in this whole hierarchy of the elements and whatnot, and if that is the king that we're talking about, Bloom and the Dragonborn almost seemed as if they were not controlling it, but ordering it. I mean, that Dragonborn sent it down to fight with Bloom.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know, because if I look at this hierarchy and we say that's the king, I hate to say it, but the other two seem like maybe champions of fire, but that doesn't. Why would a champion be bossing the king around?
Could they be advisors? King is, in one sense, young, if he was reborn. Perhaps he needs to be guided to be reminded of what he was.
Or they are using him.
Let's say, is there a way I can roll insight back on that? There's no way I would be able to tell if that bird was...
Yeah. With that commentary, like injecting a new idea, with that 26, yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Okay. Charles just sitting there trying to rack his head with what he knows about how this hierarchy works, and he knows there was champions of fire in there. I mean, he ran into the one in the music hall or whatever right before Hasport came and got everybody. You all mentioned that too, that he did run into other, but he assumed champions of fire. And recall the two he just said, and then the one that had the goggles that looked like pure fire behind him, which I think we ran into as well when Yaslin and that bug creature escaped
When
Yaslin.
Yaslin exploded?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think he was
when
there
Yaslin
as well.
Went supernova.
So after Dro was just rambling on, trying to figure it out, he's going to look at Randar. It protected them, like it cared for them. They ordered it almost as if they were training it, like you did to me.
Like they had an idea of what they wanted it to become.
So they could mold it into their view.
That's not good.
Dro, as you're doing this, give me one more, give me an investigation check at advantage, because you're essentially getting the help action from everybody right now.
19.
That was at advantage?
Yeah, rolled an 18.
Okay. Wait, what?
I rolled an 18. I got a +1 to investigation. 19.
Yeah, but advantage, so roll again.
That's what it was. It was an 18 with advantage. 18 and 13.
18 to 13. Okay, gotcha. And so yeah, what everybody just kind of came up with makes sense, and then Albiadala adds in the last piece. But it's darker. You saw it as that darkened bird. You see her like sit back down, and she looks like she's oh no. What if they killed their king on purpose? And they're reshaping it. My estimates that bird. That's how you showed it. I'm gonna give her yeah. Oh, not Maldia. So natural 16 plus her insane study stats. Phoenix grow up fast. That thing is 2 to 3 years old tops. That's what changed.
So, what would have happened if we killed it there?
Without knowing what their plan is, I'm not entirely sure, but maybe delayed by a couple of years as it regrew. Going through everybody's head.
Droz is regret. Regret for not killing Bloom. If you would have killed Bloom, Lunith wouldn't be where she is right now. And now regret that he didn't focus on that bird. And he was selfish for a moment dealing with Bloom. And regret that it all is in vain, that Margot is dead because of it all. So I think after he asked that question and got the answer of it delaying, I think he's just staring down at his lap at this point.
And with that news of the King of Fire being purposefully restarted and darkened and retrained, we're going to take a break. Think out loud.
Charles just very quiet now.
So they killed their own king because they wanted to wrest control.
What? Why?
Power makes people greedy, and perhaps they weren't satisfied with the balance.
Ooh. So what? We just, maybe steal their king and can wipe our hands the easy way, maybe?
Say it like
I don't know,
it's
maybe
easy.
that's just wistful thinking. Listen, considering we got pretty close, really, I feel like all it takes is the next graph to open by them. If their king is young and we've already fought them in the ripples, and the forces then were small, but they're getting bigger now. So I'm assuming the next time this happens, they're gonna be bigger.
Somebody has to be leading this, and we talked about if it was the thought of fire trying to get free to take control. Now it sounds like it wasn't even its choice. It's people below it chose to take action themselves, and they're using it, the king, to do it. So the real question is, if that's true, who's leading the charge on this?
Perhaps your friend Bloom? Or the other one you
Either
mentioned?
the other one. I think the other one.
There were more than just them, though. Champion, there had to be more. Almost like when I was around, I just felt polar opposite.
Do you think it's because the Phoenix was there that you felt that?
I don't,
It
possibly, but
it doesn't make sense to bring their king into the fight unless they don't have big numbers, as we think they do.
also, how are they able to kill their king? He's supposed to be
I
the
mean,
strongest.
people get old. It wasn't definitely just one person, probably though.
The Jin was still at the ripples. Could he be controlling it?
I don't know about that.
Did the fire dude?
Oh, it's
that
really
we
only
saw
Drone
both-
Yaslin on that.
It's just you two. It's
Yeah.
all you.
Shit.
Yeah, it's all
Margot's
on
knowledge
us all.
gap. Margot's knowledge gap is palpable. Like without her here, there's so much that's like.
There's
absent.
so much I want to say.
And the two that
You're
are
relying on
horrible at
Yasmin
magic or
brain?
any of this. is
Yeah,
really-
yeah, yeah. Yep. I mean, that's why there was a point where I was like, I have to remind somebody at least of this, because I can't just hold it all. Yeah. Enjoy.
gosh, it's like it's the struggle of Yaslin and Dro, two martial characters trying to have an intellectual conversation with a bunch of
Most of
group
these
leaders,
fights,
like,
both of
okay.
us were at the brink of death, so
Right?
Yeah, most of
Fuck,
these
why
fights
are we
were
both
both.
the brains on this right now?
Dro had a
Yeah, it's
dislocated
like,
arm
okay.
in one of the fights. Oh,
Maybe you could bring up bringing Margot back, since she has the information.
Fine,
Oh, this
Margaret
is
has amnesia.
true. Oh no, Margot's memory isn't yet.
Oh, Margaret. If you guys ever get Margot back, her memory is going to be interesting.
oh my god.
Morgan's gonna be like, and you have amnesia now. Fuck you.
Kiki, I've been
Let's
rolling
fuck
to
with this a little bit.
to see if Dro, if that pops into Dro's mind. And I've been rolling
Oh,
bad.
no. No. Well, I mean, you're rolling for Margot, so that makes sense.
On her behalf.
There
You're
was a
rolling in the
point-
spirit of Margot.
There was a
Yeah.
point someone said bringing somebody back, and I rolled at advantage, and I rolled a 2 and a 3.
Ooh.
We
Kiki,
just-
the thing that I'm referring to with Margot's memory, if she comes back, you already know about it.
Oh, yeah, I already know it. Well, you can always just do not what the dice say.
Okay, so I don't know. What were we talking about? Yaslin.
Who's running this show?
Who's running this show? And then Dro said maybe the person we saw in Ripple.
The Jen.
Yeah, that Jen. Didn't your Kieran? You know, I'm so bad with names. No, it was the other one, not the Kieran, but the one above.
The
water
water
dude.
Jin sacrificed
I'm
himself.
so good. Yeah, didn't the water Jin deal with him? But he didn't kill him.
He didn't kill him, he just
said
weakened
he was,
him.
like, weakened or something.
Yeah, just subtracted another part of the water, so apparently there's just me and the Kieran. Well, the rest of
I'm
these
like,
elements
where's
have
Team
armies.
Like, yeah. So actually, on the topic of elements, do we have like any sort of contact whereabouts of where all the other elements are standing right now? Because we know fire is kicking ass.
Probably
And
Adela,
burning
I feel like,
ass.
should have it. Because she was the one that studies it.
There's a conversation that Joe's gonna have with her on all that. It's when she brought up
Apparently-
meet with me after.
I don't know, Protector Air is just chilling out and doing its own thing.
We know where the temple is, and we mentioned, I don't know if as a group we mentioned, but I know Dro and Protector talked of, because I think there was talk of going to the Tawny Forest, but on the way, stopping at the temple.
Yeah. And then water is...
Water is...
Water
Kieran.
is, I don't know. It's
Water's-
evaporated. We're struggling.
the Kieran and possibly something else.
So, like, what other elements do we have? Earth?
We have Earth,
Magic?
We have light,
magic,
dark,
beast.
magic,
Light,
earth,
dark?
and
beast.
beast.
Do we know, like, if any of those elements could help us?
We know that
Like, do any of
the
you contacts out there looking at the big world leader people?
we know that magic. I'm pretty sure we know Magic's champion is dead. Wasn't that orc? He was his Magic's champion, or we just know that he had something to do with magic.
Wait,
Could
who?
there be more than one champion?
Oh wait, no. He was keeping the seal. We think.
Oh, from Aurora's Rest?
Yeah.
But
I
did-
don't
there
think he
was
was the
like a
champion.
champion of magic there too.
There was a champion of
I
magic.
mean,
there,
magic-
thought.
No,
Yeah,
I
magic
don't think
was
so.
there,
I
and then
looked
they
at
just
something.
kind of fucked off. So
I didn't
That's
think we
fair.
knew any other champions besides Dro and Ward or Protector.
yeah, but do any of the people here know any champions? Or
Dro
like,
just
the
turns and
status
looks to the
of
table.
The elements,
This is
considering.
Sorry. This has all been above table. I have been assuming, just as you guys like are getting your thoughts straight. So you guys can ask. The only of the secondary elements, you know, the fire, earth, wind, water. Kind of think of that as like your north, east, south, west on a compass, and then turn it the 90 degrees, and you've got the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Of the secondary ones, you guys have only heard that there was something important in Aurora's Rest, which you were now guessing is the seal that Duroc died related to something. Not exactly sure in the details there. And that Dro has met. I think I gave you this detail. Dro has met something nasty from Shadow.
Mm-hmm. I had a question about the seal. Based off of my wife's specific study of magic, for specific defensive, warding, shielding magic, would she have worked with Duroc to like enhance the defenses?
Give me a. I'm going to make this an insight check because we already talked about you and your wife didn't share specifics about your work on purpose. So this is you reading her, not checking your memory. Did I say advantage, or was that just in my head?
You didn't say it out loud, but I'll roll it right now. She is my wife for like the last 75 years.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. This is a big time frame.
Well,
17?
Out of the way. Everybody, there's a little bit of, there's a fair amount of politicking between the towers and whatnot, but either out of necessity or through personal projects, everybody interacting with Duroc. Like, he was the central hub that all the towers went through. So your wife had dealings with him. You don't know specifically about what, but you do know that nobody else was better at warding and defensive magic in the entire city than your wife. So it's possible it's hypothetically possible that she did work on it, but you have no idea. It could be something that, like, because you, Cressida, and Albiadala, neither of you had, you also 20 members of the 24, neither of you had any concept of the seals until this meeting. So it's possible that your wife was in the exact same boat where she didn't know anything about it.
All right, cool.
So on the table, Yasmin will just pipe up. So rather than like speculating kind of who's in control of fire right now, fire's still an issue. And do we around the board, do any of you know the status of any of the other groups of elements that we could maybe call on for some help or something? Anything?
Well, I've mentioned a few times I do know where the air temple is and would be able to take us there if need be.
Would they be willing to help fight against fire?
That's a question you'd have to ask them.
I mean, you know them better than we do. I think.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say that. I know them quite well, but it's been a few years since I've known them.
And then Yaslin, as you said, Albiadala is like, but like I said earlier, there's been an unverified number of attacks around the world, which I assume many of those locations have something to do with one of the cardinal elements. Now, that being said, the communications are strained and odd at this moment. What was that?
A
I
really
know why
bad
you rolled
insight
that.
roll.
What the fuck?
That was both the best and worst she could have gotten.
Worst roll.
She was trying to determine if she could figure out if she was descended from light or dark because of moonlight shining down on her. But honestly, she's a little bit too pissed off to figure out anything right now.
Yeah, that checks out.
She really wants to kill the bird again, and then again, and then again, and then maybe Bloom in there, and then revive him, and then kill him again, because that'd be kind of fun. See how he likes it.
Do you
Poetic.
know what other areas
Yeah.
were attacked? Like specifics?
Oh boy. This is where my incomplete map of my world is going to bite me in the ass.
Uh-oh.
Just a moment.
Just like location names, even like general areas. Like maybe we're assuming they're going after the seals, but maybe there's more of a pattern, like large civilizations or some ancient ruins at the middle of nowhere even.
She gives you I have confirmed reports from multiple locations. She gives you the list of the definitely attacks, like the maybe attacks and like possibly but not likely attacks, of which I will flesh those details out later.
Okay.
Everybody give me a history check on those locations.
Oh god.
No.
No.
It's a 9.
You're asking a lot of Yaslin here.
Everybody.
Yeah, Warden, give yourself advantage because your favorite terrain pretty much gives you really, really good
About right.
traction of like the planet.
Tharok? Tharok roll it? Or no?
Yeah, Tharok as well.
Did you say history? This is gonna be great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
I think Yaslin's more looking towards her tabaxi Tawny friends for this one's like
Okay. Cressida, you recognize most of those places just being a studied person, and it's generally good practice to keep up on the current geography of the world.
And being old.
And being old. Protector, you know a couple of the spots. Haru, you know one of the spots, and it's very close to your homeland.
oh fuck. She doesn't say that out loud.
Yaslin and Dro, the ripples are on the list.
Fingered.
Like recent attacks or like
It's in the list she just gave. Like
so like
we have
been
worked
attacked.
So they were just attacked again.
Oh no. God damn it. That's so bad.
Dang.
That's not good.
Knowing that, Joe's gonna try to reach out to the Kieran right there. Just in his head. Are you there? Are you okay?
Give me a. What have we done in the past? Insight check?
I don't.
Persuasion check. Give me a persuasion check.
Oh, that's good. Why do I have a +2? Okay. 19.
You reach out and you don't get words. You get the emotion of strain, of exhaustion, of anguish, sorrow, and of being spent.
Oh no.
There's a visible concern on Joe's face now.
When I gave you guys the option of choosing this world for our next campaign, I told you it was like chaos and destruction and like madness all over the place, right?
Ah! It's like the world is burning around us, and we're just
Literally.
like trying to put out fires, but as we're putting them out, more are popping up. It's just...
Yep. And you guys are only on one continent so far.
Gosh. Oh no, don't say that. Okay. This is really bad.
Not gonna lie,
Drow?
I really wish Margot was here. She was better at handling this. Looking at the
Looking up at this table.
three main people from Allegory has been talking. This is a shot in the dark. But obviously it's pretty obvious that Yaslan and I aren't the greatest when it comes to this magic creation. We tend to punch. That's it. The woman that closed the graft in Aurora's Rest was more skilled in this stuff, and she handled it a lot better. And she also came from somewhere that could also be a very helpful ally, unfortunately.
We're a dangerous enemy.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Which I don't know how I feel about them, but I do know for sure Margot was an ally. She was family. And people do some crazy shit for family. So hopefully that's something I don't have to do, is why I'm asking you this question, is if you guys have any sort of way of best case bringing her back. That would make one regret sits on my conscience a little bit smaller. And he'll kind of glance over at Luneth when he says regret.
Well, we certainly find ourselves in the only words that are coming to mind are a massive shit sandwich. We've had to be very careful with our resources for bringing people back with magical or even semi-advanced medical means. Drew, give me a persuasion check.
Can
I guidance myself?
I'm biased. It's my own character, as I say.
Can I guidance myself? Alright, which one of these is not gonna screw me?
I wish I could give you my bardic, but I don't know.
I wanna give you advantage somehow, but let's just be.
Like, I have bardic inspirations, but I'm like, I don't think power's connected enough to give you such a thing.
I mean, it sounds like no.
Oh! Yes!
In total,
gosh.
that is 23.
It's going to happen.
What'd you roll on your dice?
I'm not.
Nat 20 and then
Your
a one
D4.
on one on the guidance.
I
I just chucked it.
Well, the only words I can find for myself in this situation is a massive shit sandwich. This ally of yours, if we were to bring her back, are you confident that she would have more to share and be able to help us combat and understand what we're dealing with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She closed 2 graphs. She's the only person in the world I've ever heard do that.
And albeit Alice, it's an incredible feat, but Haspor has done a lot more. She's not the only one, but sorry, just clarifying.
Dro just gives her a death stare.
Yeah, I think Yaslin is also like, I dare you to continue that thought process. Like, I will jump over this table.
It's like that look where he's talking to 3 guys, all of a sudden just looks over.
It was like, oh, you better fucking watch your mouth.
I'm not saying she's not valuable. I'm a researcher fact checking. That's all. Well, in that case, I suppose we must.
You can actually do it. You can bring her back.
Yes. Second, something up.
Oh my god.
It has to be a true resurrection or a wish.
You say that so calm.
Well, yes. I own the damn pyramid. This thing is massive. You think I don't have resources?
I don't doubt that, but when you say you can bring her back, you're bringing just her.
That sentence confuses me.
Do you want to explain, Dro?
Yes,
I
I will
think
need some details
explain.
about how she died, if we have her body, if there's a fingernail.
Do we have anything of hers besides her magical possessions?
Trying to rack my brain on something.
Technically, my chimera might have stolen some of her magic.
I asked that because I've seen some crazy things with magic and traveling. I've learned magic does have its cost. So I do want to ensure. And trust me, if this is feasible, then let's do it. Because I'll just stop. In terms of body, we don't have it. I have her belongings.
Her vial.
I'll pull that out. I have this, and pulls out the notebook.
Above table, didn't Margot put her blood in that vial?
It is a blood well vial, yeah. But I'm pretty sure there's a specific clause. It's a soul well vial, but I'm pretty sure there's a specific clause that says like, if you die, the blood within it is destroyed immediately. Let me look it up.
Look, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at soul well file forever or blood well files. I don't know. It's just
To be fair, the soul well vial is a custom item.
It's a homebrew,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, if the attunement ends, the blood contained within turns to ash, so it would have disintegrated with her.
Okay.
Like, the
The
vial
blood.
can still be used, someone
Yeah.
else could put blood in
But
it
the
and use
blood
it, but her blood
yeah.
is gone. Her soul is gone.
Oh, damn it.
Joe will just pull out Mario's belongings. We had a run-in with some very powerful magic before, and it had effects. So I want to ensure that if she does come back, she's not suffering from it. Her people had, I still don't quite understand it, but they had abilities to connect spirits to themselves of loved ones. I don't know how much more you need, but... And he'll kind of stand up from his chair and lean over the table. If you can ensure she comes back 100% her and nobody else, please.
I suppose maybe it might be helpful we specify what the nobody else is. Maybe?
Yes,
Bro?
please do that. Having an understanding of what's going on with magic tends to be a crucial part.
Fucking Dro made Margot a promise not to share that.
You
know what?
did.
Hold on.
You did do that.
Jaslyn didn't make any such promise.
Yeah,
She looks
like,
at Dro.
I was
she
left
looks at-
out of this.
Yeah, she looks at Dro like he's going to explain all the weird tree shit that Margot has going on.
Oh. Just rolled
Dro?
high. Margot did have additional magical capabilities. I wasn't the only one that made a sacrifice. She made a deal with an entity. Dark corruption. And he'll cast minor illusion of block. From what he knows, he'd seen a block, which I think would have just been the tree. No. It would have been what Margot turned into at the very end.
Oh.
He would shift to the tree, and then you'd watch it kind of fade and then turn into that figure that everybody saw. This figure let her strengthen her power at a great cost. They'll kind of look at the Aurora rest individuals. It had corrupted a lot of her body. Which caused her to have to get a prosthetic. Joe will get choked up talking about that. So when Yaslin says that there was something else, there was. And I want to ensure when Margot's back, it's just Margot. I think the whole time when the minor illusion's going, it's slightly shaking because Dro's shaking. Talking about this.
Can you do that?
All right. Anything else we should know?
Is there anything?
You said her people connected to spirits? What was she?
She was a Kalishtar. She...
Oh.
Oh,
From Savok or Empire or elsewhere?
Empire?
Not that it really matters. But good to know. Context, I suppose.
wait, yeah. Wait, I'm curious. Why is this like Kalistar usually controversial?
No. It's like asking where Thrive Cream come from. It's just there's a few places around the world that they're more common. That's all. I guess
Oh,
there's a question
oh,
about curiosity, not function. I
oh, okay, okay.
suppose. Alistair. With that, it might be a little bit tricky to
Why?
do under normal means. I think we're gonna need a specialist for this one, boss.
What do you?
Right.
Oh no.
What if relative? You gave
I'm
Joe your
sure
notebook.
that would. I'm sure that would help.
Kind of.
The Empire, I suppose it is proper now. Assuming her relatives are in the Empire, it's a bit of a ways of travel. And I'm not sure if it's necessary. Barrick, did you have someone in mind? Hmm, I was thinking the twins. Ah, yes. Yes, they could do it. I don't think it'll be necessary. We have personnel who can handle that.
So,
They are. Ingrid finally speaks up again. Incredibly awkward is the phrase you're looking for.
Where is
like,
where
Yes,
is
that.
Dolphin when we need him?
I'm
Right.
sorry, you're just as a twin, having my character saved by awkward twins is hilarious. I'm dying. I just text my sister.
That's awesome. Right. This has been a lot. Shall we have a recess until we can bring our dead friend back?
how long is
We'll
that going to take?
reconvene after.
An hour? 2 hours? Tomorrow?
Ingrid, any idea?
Sorry, I feel like we're kind of on a time crunch here, just a little bit.
Yeah, we are, but we're talking about a time crunch that goes across weeks or months, not necessarily hours or minutes, right? I mean,
I mean,
if we don't,
maybe weeks. I don't know if we have months. Might be.
no, we're talking a large ritual that's probably by tomorrow.
Okay.
I don't know if I would get in the way, but can I watch?
Oh, certainly, miss. Curiosity killed the cat, but it also made the cat into a damn saber-tooth first.
Haru
I think that's how that
raises her
goes.
hand. Haru will raise her hand as well.
You obviously didn't grow up in the same neck of the woods I did. Got a
I
scar
have
on my leg to prove it.
I have
I think I
some
grew
knowledge.
up when your grandparents were growing up, so that's probably true.
Do you
You're
mind?
awfully hot for a grandmother.
Uh-oh.
I am an elf.
How old are
And
you?
I am 150 years old.
You're
And
not that much
young
older than
for elves.
Young?
You're not that much older than me.
Dro just peeks his head in front. I'm also okay.
Oh, well, how old are
Sorry,
you?
context.
How old? Okay, I actually, Haru is right next to an old man.
I think Dro intentionally would like look down at Randar while this conversation's going on.
Yeah, I think Haru also like unintentionally kind of looked to her left and was like, after finding out this elf is really old, she like looks over unintentionally. Oh gosh.
I'm sorry, boss. I did it again. Yes, you did. Now, as I said, a recess. We shall reconvene here tomorrow.
Question above table, Morgan, with
Mhm.
Arak. When Dro showed Locke. Ring any bells?
Ooh. Give
Ooh.
me
Hmm.
give me a vibe check. Vibe check.
Oh, gotta love those vibe checks.
checks.
Vibe
Any
check.
vibe?
It's a new skill in 2024 edition. Vibe check. Nature.
Okay.
I pulled up your stat sheet. It was the first thing that it was the first skill I saw. I'm like, yep, that's the one.
It's a 24.
Ooh, that's a good vibe.
You got tinglies.
I think
Oh,
visibly, Tharok has been sitting back in his chair. He sits up and leans forward towards Dro's minor illusion.
And everybody starts like funneling out. It's like, all right, see you tomorrow with your not dead friend in tow.
I think Haru will actually like step to the side and to whoever seems to be kind of maybe helping with this ritual and will whisper
Oh,
to them.
it looks like it's gonna be
Who?
Barrick. It's gonna be Barrick with these twins.
Oh, wonderful.
And like, it's like, yeah, it kind of. He seems like as far as the stalker chapter goes,
Mm-hmm.
he seems like one of the magic-y leaders around here. You also have Koilak, but he doesn't seem. Dude's definitely more of a nerd than a healer.
Freaking nerds.
You
But
were literally
essentially,
just sitting next to
still,
one.
yeah. Essentially, still say that she does have a niche expertise in spirits and could potentially help.
All right, hop on into the carriage, miss. Guess in that case, you might get along well with the twins.
I'm so excited to meet these twins.